Hello everyone, welcome back to another edition of the weekend analysis video. Good to be with you. I'm Taylor Moe from True Trade LLC. And what do you know, guys? We have another bullish week. It seems that the market is never going to stop going up, but we shouldn't be surprised at all, right? We should not be surprised. We know the market is on a long-term monthly and weekly breakout. We should not be surprised by the strength of this trend if you have been following my videos at all. And yeah, I'm not surprised, guys. And I want to kind of get into some smaller pullback moves that were made on Friday this week, what I think they could mean, if they mean anything, and just kind of get into the price action this week and look at those indices. And I have a few great stock picks at the end of this video as well, so stay tuned or skip ahead if you want to just look at those, okay? So let's get started. Let's look at a SPY weekly chart. It's a bit messy with these levels here, sorry about that, but I want to show you some stuff. So this is the weekly chart. We had another small weekly bar. It was low volume, Christmas time, so we should expect, like I said, 80% of the time it's going to be a bullish week. That's what we got. So yeah, the picture remains the same, guys. We are above this weekly dashed breakout trend line. We shouldn't be surprised that we are continuing up, but as always, we can expect a retest, right? So we have to always be ready, and we'll go through and look at some numbers down to a daily chart here. And again, this 314.10 I'm going to keep in green for a while, guys, because if we get a larger size pullback, I expect this 314.10 to be a massive level to buy the dip at. I believe that whether it lasts a day or two, I think there will be a 95% guaranteed bounce at that level. So I'm going to keep it on there. I think it's important. Okay. But for now, okay, what are we looking at? Well, I drew kind of a makeshift trend line here. I'm really just drawing what I can find just to show you guys that we're really just pressing through every trend line possible. You could make other trend lines. I'm not trying to show you that the market is only bullish, but I mean, it is, guys, it is. Right? We had this pullback Friday, and could this lead to some more downside? Well, I think it could, but at the moment, what the market is showing from the price action Friday is it doesn't really mean anything yet. I think we need to see more on Monday or Tuesday, and we should be aware that that can happen. But I don't think we should be scared. I think that the price action Friday was simply a breather, simply a pullback, and that nothing is really wrong yet. So we'll go to an hourly chart. Let's look at the intraday action here. And, essentially, what do we have in the recent 2 days here? Well, we have a move up from this breakup candle, right? There's a support here, or resistance, excuse me. The price moves up. Essentially, take this red candle out of your mind, right? Imagine that this green candle goes all the way up to here, up to the top. And then these are small red candles stepping their way down to the breakout area, which is here, right? We talk about breakup candle lows and we talk about breakout areas. What did SPY do on Friday? At the end of the day, it came down to test the breakout area, and it had a nice reaction back up. Is that bullish or bearish? That's bullish. Now we need to trade away from that area. If we open Monday either below that area, especially below this gap perhaps, if we open down at all really, below 322, that's not a positive sign. We're probably headed to a lower destination. So I'm keeping an eye on this makeshift trend line that I made, and I'm keeping an eye on this breakout area because that's really our first level. So where, if we do get a pullback, if we happen to get a pullback, some downside early next week, where is the first real strong support level? And I think that has to be these lower marked levels. First of all, this zone at 320. 320 was a level, it's a big round number and could not get broken through for about 3 or 4 days here. Finally did, retested, and we've been off. Obviously, we do have this 321.50. We have many smaller levels in here, guys. There's a lot of support. And so early next week, we'll be able to tell as we're watching if the market does happen to come down. Are we reacting at some of the first levels, like 322, like 321.50, perhaps this gap here we need to keep an eye on? Or are we coming down farther? And what is the major level on the downside? Well, it's 320. That's, in my opinion, a level that should hold. And then especially this 319.20 opening range low. That area here within that 80-cent range, you would likely see a bounce if the market comes screaming down there. Monday morning happens to be down $2-3. You will see a bounce somewhere in that area. And it will likely be a sizable bounce. If it's not, that's really not, that's not a good thing. In my opinion, we'd probably be headed down for this gap at 317. That's quite a large move, another $2. So I really wouldn't expect that to happen, guys, not in this kind of a market. So, yeah, but again, I'm still expecting more upside. I don't see this chart telling me downside yet. I am just giving you guys what you can be prepared with, right? Where you should be looking if we do get downside, because we have to always be ready for it. So let's go on to the IWM, the small caps, risky stocks, risk on, risk off type of market. And you can see the IWM was leading a bit to the downside, right? Down 0.5% on Friday. And we have the same picture we've had for a while, right? We are breaking out from a very large bull flag consolidation pattern. No surprise that we've gone up for this long. And we have a top trend line up here, right? And I've said this for a while. My target for the IWM is around 168.50 and around the top of the trend line for this rally. Now, it doesn't have to get there. Indices, stocks, they come up short all the time. They don't always reach what could be a potential target, right? I don't know what the target's going to be. I just follow the chart. So, we have to keep in mind IWM had a solid down day. It took out the last 4 days of gains, right? The whole week of gains it took out. It's back at the last week's high, right? So we have to realize that it was a solid down day. It wasn't any incredible volume. And, to me, yes, it could spark a little bit more downside. But to me, if I'm going to go down to an hourly chart here and look at what I think are important levels, whenever a stock gaps and retests a level, or an index gaps and retests a level, I see that as a very important level. So you can see I have a few of those marked. One is here, where we've actually found support Friday, gapped up, we retested that level. Same thing here, gap, retest. This one, I'm not quite sure how I got this, but this one down here, another gap and retest of 162. So these are the levels that I see as important, and we have not broken the first level. So we can keep an eye on this index as well. We start to close hourly below the 165.38. We may be headed a bit lower, right? But is anything really wrong big picture? No. But everything has to start somewhere. We do have a solid hourly reversal here. It shows that people may be taking some risk off of these stocks for the short term, right? I still think this is going higher. You don't come out of a bull flag breakout that lasts an entire almost year, right? 8 months, 9 months, and just make it that far, right? This is a full-fledged breakout. We've closed monthly above this channel. Um, this is likely going to test the highs, guys. So just be aware of that big picture, okay? But short term, there are your numbers to watch. If we hold 165.38 for Monday, Tuesday, look for this to keep going, guys. Transports. We were keeping an eye on these. About 2 weeks ago, we knew that they were lagging. They were severely lagging here. They were coming down, but they couldn't break this pivot here. They couldn't break this gap, right? That's what we were keeping an eye on. And so we said after it bounced last week that this is just a bullish pullback, that we're looking for this to continue higher and break this trend until or unless we get below these pivots, right? And so it played out as expected. And so we're back in this red zone, the red zone of selling that we can't seem to get past. So again, the awareness is there that we are at an area in the transports, and we'll go on to look at the XLF. The XLF is also at a very, very critical area. So we have two market leading indices that are at critical areas. We have other market leading indices that are breaking out or have been breaking out. Are they tired yet? Do they need a break? Do they need a pullback? Well, nobody knows. Overbought can turn into more overbought and can turn into more overbought. So at this point in time, it's best to not be in. It's best not to be in sectors like tech. It's best not to be in sectors like small caps. It's best to move into, sectors that are going to do well whether the market goes up or down, like your consumer goods, there's a lot of communication services that are actually starting to heat up. The industrials are starting to look okay. Excuse me, the materials, not the industrials. So guys, just look at different industries. Be careful where the market's at in this point in time, short term. Just be careful. Wait for pullbacks and see how stuff like tech is acting before you just go and buy the dip on tech. It may be due for a pullback soon. Okay, so just be wary. Be aware of that, and keep that long-term bullish bias in your mind until something long-term changes, because there's no reason to change your bias long-term at the moment. So my numbers on the downside, my number on the upside. Essentially, I see us staying in this range here until we get over or under. I think that this is remaining in a bullish state, okay? Pullback can come down to this number here, and any rally can be stopped short here. If we get above there, look for it to continue to the top of the trend line once again, okay? XLF financials. We've talked about this monthly. Month ends in 2 trading days, guys. 2 trading days. What I have marked here is the highest closing month and the highest price in general for the XLF. So we're watching 30.78. We're watching 30.98. Incredibly important on Tuesday's close, where the XLF finishes. Now, closing below does not mean the XLF is going to die in January. It can, but you have to still realize the shorter term picture here. The XLF has come up and for 2 weeks straight has gone sideways. What does that tell us? As always, it tells us that the price is not being rejected from that area. It's hanging around. There's not a huge increase in sellers, and the price likely wants to move higher. We have a very clear bogey on the downside for the XLF, right? Very, very clear. We have this trendline area, and we have a very clear breakout area marked by the zone. It coincides with a breakup candle low and there's a gap right here that's barely not filled. Uh, that this general zone, guys, is our bogey on the downside, I believe. There's still a lot of support, but getting back this below this trend line and breakout area is certainly not a strong sign for the XLF. Certainly could lead to more sideways to down movement in the coming weeks. But this is bullish. It's bullish till it's not. Watch that Tuesday close, guys. Watch these numbers. Watch the Tuesday close. It could be a huge, huge tell for the next year or two in the market. Okay, lastly, SMH. Again, moving sideways. Go down to a smaller chart. We can see came up, hit a resistance, messed around with the resistance for a while. I've kept the zone in here for a while. I believe it's still important. We came down to test the bottom, and now we're back above for 2 days. We're holding, holding, holding. Is anything wrong here? Absolutely not. Right? Sideways, sideways, sideways. Likely wants to go higher. But as always, we're noticing that the market is in a very strong uptrend, and at any point we can have sellers come into the market. Do they decide to come in after New Year? Everyone comes back from vacation and big money starts selling. Well, maybe. We have to be aware. And so the first level on the downside is this gap. We have a trend line here, and the first major level I should really draw is this breakout area, right? We have a breakout area, and we have gap, gap, gap. We have a ton of gaps, right? So this breakout area, right? That would coincide maybe with this trend line. If for any reason the SMH is down in this area here at this trend line on top of the zone, I'll be buying at least for a day trade. You will see a bounce. But that's thinking way far ahead. First level is this gap. If we hold this, bounce right back up. Cool, nothing wrong. Small pullback. It's bullish till it's not. Okay, I have some good stock picks for this week. Some interesting ones. Most are in the consumer industry. One is actually a tech stock. So first one, and probably my favorite one here, P&G, Procter & Gamble. Beautiful, beautiful rising triangle, ascending triangle breakout here on the daily chart. This is one of my favorite setups. I've actually been waiting for this, and it happened on Friday, guys. So I'm super excited about this setup. And what makes me even more excited is how much it's been consolidating on the daily chart underneath this level. This shows that it's primed for a massive move, guys. And, it's P&G. It's not going to move very fast. So this will be a swing trade. It is more of a swing trade idea. You can try and day trade it if you want. But this is much more of a swing trade idea. Not much else to say about it. Huge breakout. Watch for more upside on this. And clearly any close, back below that trend line, and certainly back below these pivot lows here would not be a good sign for Procter & Gamble, so that's what you're watching on the downside. Next, Snapchat. Snapchat has been in this kind of falling wedgish, megaphone-ish pattern for a while. We had a bit of a bear flag move. Could this still be a bear flag? Well, yes. But Snap's on an uptrend, and big picture look here. This is an up move, followed by a bullish pullback. And so I've been watching for a bullish breakout. And Friday, we got it. Really, Thursday, we barely got it. We slightly got it. Friday has held, and it's held above. It's held above well. Weekly chart here. If you were to draw a trend line from there to there, boom, you've got your weekly breakout as well. Okay, so Snap, I'm looking for my upside. Near side targets would really be this level here at about 17, bit above 17. And then you're looking at these pivots around 18. So you have a very nice margin of profit there, 6% and about 12% to those two targets. And again, Snap is not always the fastest moving stock. This could be a swing, or look for intraday breakouts on Snap. Okay. Next, Intel is one it's interesting. It hasn't totally been following the crowd, and it's an interesting one. I like Intel because it has this weekly breakout. I like the consolidation for about 2 months here underneath the breakout area, and now we have a break. Okay, so I'm looking for Intel to continue to the upside. It may need a breather here. I'd like a retest, of the mid 59s to maybe even 59 area before a takeoff. That would be my ideal situation. But you can see, guys, a very clear breakout here. It was really nice. It closed the day above the highs on this day here, and you can see the next 3 days have been all green, all looking good. And yeah, guys, this thing is set to continue. Look at that weekly chart. It's a pretty clear breakout. Look for this thing to continue. It closed at new all-time highs as well. So yeah, keep an eye. Okay. Lastly, Nike. Nike has been huge. It actually already got the weekly breakout the week before. I did miss this. But it just closed another day after about 5 days of consolidation, 6 days. It's now closed at a new high, right? It's been in this consolidation pattern, building up energy. It's a setup, right? It's a setup we can actually play, and boom, look at Friday, comes up, support. Look for this thing to continue higher with a lot of other consumer goods stocks early next week. Okay, that's all my stock picks that I have. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, most importantly, share the video if you liked it. If anyone can use this, share it. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.